Well, hello, good evening to you. Welcome. This is Ghana Tonight. We're live on news up at Desawe Kanda, also live on TV3 Ghana on Facebook. I am Alfred Ocansey. Coming up tonight, 3 more top gangs of the governing New Patriotic Party have joined the race for the flag bearership after they filed their nominations. We'll assess the chances of Kennedy Ohene Japan and also Kwabene Japan. In fact, Kojo Poko is in the mix there as well. Stay with me. There's some very interesting analysis on Kennedy Japan, especially here on Ghana Tonight. Also, despite the numerous calls for the removal of taxes on imported sanitary parts, the Association of Ghana Industries, AGI, begs to differ. The group, they've cautioned government against any such intervention to remove the taxes on imported sanitary parts. Also this evening, the Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAT, is upset over pronouncements made by the National Teaching Council that teachers who failed their licensure examinations are not fit for the teaching profession. We'll get some answers when one of the failed candidates joins us tonight here on Ghana Tonight. As always, let's hear from you. We're very, very interactive. Some of the over 6,000 teacher trainees who sat for this exam and failed, they say that they have concerns. One of the failed candidates of these licensure examinations is going to be joining us tonight. Stay with me on Ghana Tonight. As always, let's hear from you. We are very, very interactive. The hashtag is Ghana Tonight on Facebook and Twitter. Let's get talking. Let's settle for Ghana Brief.
The former secretary of the dissolved Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining, IMCIM, Charles Bisu, has been released on bail by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. This was after he was arrested, having turned himself in early today. It follows a wanted notice published by the Office of the Special Prosecutor after the former presidential staffer failed to respond to an invitation from the OSP to appear and answer questions regarding ongoing investigation into suspected corruption within the now-defunct IMCIM. According to the OSP, Charles Bisu was interviewed and released on bail. NDC parliamentary candidate for Ase North, James Jachikwe, has been given the green light to campaign ahead of the much-anticipated by-election on June 27. This was after an Accra High Court adjourned the ruling on an application to halt his criminal trial, despite his request to be absent on the day granted.
On the 23rd, the court, in its own wisdom, dispensed of his presence in court, which means that effectively he is supposed to come after the elections. And so clearly, we want to be thankful to the court. This evening, he's going back. The people of Ase North should prepare to receive him.
You know, my people are excited. You saw them on the roadside already. So, even these are not from my constituent, but you see, they have come all the way to give me support.
Director at the Faculty of Academic Affairs and Research at the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center, Professor Kwesi Enin, has urged Ghanaians to reduce emotional reactions to police shootings. He asserts that the activities of Langas threaten community security and must be condemned.
Langas are posing an existential threat to this country. They are driving away business. They are creating societies of fear. And when you do that, when you pose an existential threat to a state, you are dealt with creditably. And I don't make any apologies for that.
The National Labour Commission has dragged the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission to court for defying orders to restore GBC staff allowances. The Executive Secretary of the Commission, Fusua Samoa, made this known after the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission failed to attend meeting to resolve the matter.
Wages in this case did not comply with the directive of the Commission and today have failed to attend upon the Commission without any notice. So the Commission has directed the legal department to go to a high court and enforce this directive.
Ghana, together with 3 other African countries, are pushing for Africa cocoa producers to establish a cocoa exchange on the African continent. Chief Executive Officer of Cocoa Board, Joseph Boahin Edu, is confident that the African Cocoa Exchange will help the continent have some level of control over the pricing of the commodity, whilst giving farmers some respite in income differentials.
Even though Africa produces around 75% of global crop, we do not have a say when it comes to price determination. It's rather the consumers or the importers who decide what price to give. And this is so because the market is not here at the producing environment. That narrative had to be changed to ensure that we had another market, international market, based in Africa.
You can find more on 3news.com. But coming up next, we go to the courts today, where there were some heated exchanges between the Attorney General, Godfrey Yeboah-Dame, and experienced legal practitioner Chachuti Carter in court earlier today. Chachuti Carter hit the Attorney General, accusing him of breaching the ethics of the legal profession. That's coming up next. Let's
You know my people are excited. You saw them on the roadside already. So. Even these are not from my constituent, but you see, they have come all the way to give me support.
Lord Idwasari, just who came to support him.
You know my people are excited. You saw them on the roadside already. So. Even these are not from my constituent, but you see, they have come all the way to give me support.
Lord Idwasari.
You see, that's James Jachakwesing right there. An Accra High Court earlier today adjourned to Friday, June 23. That criminal case against him, that's James Jachakwesing. The court has, however, as we indicated, granted him the permission to be absent from the hearing on Friday, so he can go to Asin North to go and continue campaigning. That's why you hear some of the people there jubilating. But he went to court yesterday seeking a number of things, and that's one of the issues that the court took a decision on today. Take a look. These are some of the issues that he went to court to seek, the claims that he was asking for. And that's what you see on the screen there, that the Attorney General seeks to prejudice outcomes of the trial, and the day-to-day trial that was earlier directed would hamper Jachakwesing's campaign, and then also the Supreme Court judgment full of fundamental errors. That's what his legal counsel went to court yesterday, in fact, asking for the court to take a decision on. Also, that's not the only one. They also went to court actually seeking a number of things as well. That one, a review and vary order for the day-to-day trial. They sought that review, and that is what as well was granted today. And then also they asked for justice must be seen to be done. These are the issues that they went to court, in fact, asking for. And that is how the court earlier today also took a decision on. So really, a ruling on the application filed by his lawyers seeking to halt his trial till after the by-election on June 27 was the center of the court hearing today. In fact, so Judge Ocansey's lead counsel, lawyer Chachuti Carter, had argued that the Attorney General had made prejudicial comments and had shown no respect to the legal etiquettes with the statements within the court, outside of the court, and also during press interviews. And that's what the Director of Legal Affairs of the NDC, lawyer Ibrahim Maliba, also referred to when he was talking to journalists outside of the courtroom today. Take a look.
To call somebody irresponsible when he's embarked on a democratic process, and that because he's embarked on that democratic process, he's irresponsible, shouldn't be coming from Attorney General and the Minister of Justice. If you're a Minister of Justice, you must ensure that justice is done to all manner of persons. And so that was an irresponsible comment from the Attorney General. He doesn't act like an Attorney General, and I agree with Senior Chachuti Carter that his comments were irresponsible.
So that was what happened. In fact, this particular position, we understand, according to our court correspondent, Lord Edwasari, led to some heated argument in court earlier today between the Attorney General and lawyer Chachuti Carter. In fact, lawyer Chachuti Carter in court today cited Article 55, Clause 13 of the 1992 Constitution, explaining that per the provisions of the Constitution, I'm going to show that to you right now. There you see it there. It said every candidate for election to Parliament has a right to conduct his campaign freely and in accordance with the law. So the accused person in this case, that's James Ocansey, has the right to take part in the election which was being conducted by the Electoral Commission, thereby making it a national assignment. So that's the strength of Article 55(13) that you see on the screen there that lawyer Chachuti Carter dwelt upon to make his argument in court earlier today, as per the details as we have it. But the Attorney General actually thought otherwise. Godfrey Yeboah Dame objected to it. In fact, he noted that the application to vary the adjournment date will mitigate the rights of the accused person in respect of a fair and speedy trial. The Deputy Attorney General, Alfred Ocansey, after the court hearing today, also spoke to journalists about what happened earlier today in court, saying that there were some unfair tactics that were employed to get the outcome of the court, saying James Ocansey can be absent and go to the constituency to go and contest. This is what he said.
It's not about he not being allowed to contest the elections. He has a right to contest. The state also has a right to hear cases pending in court. So it's going to be a position, even though it will not be saved, that the court properly exercise a discretion in granting adjournment on daily basis. And that's what we're going to maintain.
Well, we'll see how Friday the criminal cases and that particular criminal trial against him will proceed. Stay with us here on Ghana Tonight. But coming up next, 3 more top guns of the governing New Patriotic Party have joined the race for the flag bearership after they filed their nominations earlier today. Now, we center our lenses on Kennedy Ohene Japan and Kwabena Japan as well. Stay with me here on Ghana Tonight. Professor Smart Sapong, he is a political analyst and a pollster as well. He's joining us in the studio here on Ghana Tonight. Also, Musa Dankwa of Global Info Analytics would also be joining us on Zoom on Ghana Tonight. We have a conversation on this. Kennedy Japan is our focus. Stay with me. We'll be back shortly.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to demonstrate to you the superior properties of Flamingo paint as compared to other paint brands on the market. We take equal quantities of Flamingo paint and this ordinary paint. We then dilute them with water. And now, let the test begin. The gentleman on the left is going to apply the ordinary paint, and the gentleman on my right will use the Flamingo Superior paint. As you can clearly see, Flamingo has the obvious better hiding. Furthermore, Flamingo has painted a much larger area. You know, one bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint is made with superior formulation to give superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior.
Everybody knows Acrobato. And if you know Acrobato, it means you know M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic. M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic is my pillar. Let's hear what others are saying about M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic. Who will be careful M-Punch one?
Chesena me ankasa me period no say problems wom ntina ma wo ho idea ma me papa chesena nya asem ketewa na me kwan point no mo hwe me modem no mo hwe bibia na so mo meduro me fire no ene ma won kra me nu kofro kwa na mkwan mu a eba and everything yourself
me ma me no adwodwo eda ho a wontumi nante ene ne ko end point o mama nu nura ene ne ho idea watimi asori anante.
That's end point for you. Ofa Roberto, hello. Hey, ohwehwe what che? Okay. A free bra wo di end point what dance. Am me call you no. Me Johnson sema na enkoyie and person na my emre nyina na magina sabema na me no be fie for there e ho na nyina jaresa. You heard everything. I have secret. M-Punch is my secret. M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic. I'm free.
My name is Nadede. If you are looking for quality and authentic mobile phones and accessories, look no further than Franco Trading Enterprise. Franco Trading Enterprise deals in products such as iPhones, Samsung, Nokia, and all kinds of phones. We have accessories like hard drive, Bluetooth speakers, pen drive, and all kinds of phone accessories. We also deal in all brands of laptops. We are open for wholesales and retails. Franco Trading Enterprise, the home of quality mobile phones and accessories.
Franco Trading Enterprise, we have branches all over Ghana. You can also download Franco Trading app on Google Play Store.
At long last, Blue Jays Vodka makes a market. Blue Jays Vodka makes Numbi a fine.
This look, the guys are chilling with Blue Jays Vodka mix. Wow!
Numbi a tasty.
Can we join you guys? We are all single.
Blue Jays Vodka makes and we are dead. Taste me a kama. Enjoy the unique taste of Blue Jays Vodka mix. Blue Jays Vodka mix Numbi a fine.
Blue Jays Vodka mix. Blue Jays Vodka mix.
Numuni nyansem won ton mani pa woni mfie don wotwe. Ensesa apemfo no.
Ghana's Most Beautiful never disappoints, and this year, the search for a new queen has begun. Join the audition train starting the 15th of June in Tamale at the Garba Lodge Hotel.
The train will be in Kumasi on the 17th of June at the Micklin Hotel.
Then the train passes through to Takrady on the 20th of June at the Rainbow Hotel.
Finally, it stops in Accra on the 23rd of June at the premises of TV3.
Come audition wearing your finest GTP skirt and a white tank top. Download the TV3 reality app or come to any of our audition venues to register.
Ghana's Most Beautiful, Ghana's Beauty, Africa's Pride.
GMB was brought to you by Napa Foods. Say Napa. Enye Ono Soko. Heaven Black Insecticide Spray and Coil. Heaven Dear Bakope.
Carnival Strawberry.
Gino Tomato Mix.
Flamingo Paint.
Top Choco.
The TV3 and 3FM Great Expedition is here again. It's much bigger and exciting this time. Experience the breathtaking view of the ever-scenic Kafajato and the spectacular Wuli Waterfall. Let's uncover the excitement around these mystical and extraordinary scenery.
Welcome back. This is Ghana Tonight. We're live on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, DSTV channel 279, all across the world on 3news.com. 3 more flag bearer hopefuls. They filed their nominations, that's of the MPP. They filed their nominations, bringing the total number of persons who have filed their nominations to 8. I'm going to show that to you shortly, but this is what happened at the party's headquarters earlier today, where Kwabena Ejapong, Kennedy Ejapong, and Kojo Poku, they were there to submit their forms.
The massive crowd cheered as he came with a message of hope for all. And as he filed his nomination forms, the hugely popular Member of Parliament for Sin Central made statements hailing himself as a master of practicality.
I'm a pragmatic person. I believe in practical things. What I saw in Volta region, what I saw in Afram Plains area and Northern region, believe me, that we can change this country. We have arable lands in Volta region. They have advantage. I'm surprised that they have always voted for NDC and they don't do anything.
Kennedy Ejapong, who was first elected a Member of Parliament in 2000, has since retained his position for the past 23 years. He is viewed as a major force in the race for the MPP presidential slot, with polls claiming he is third favourite behind Vice President Baumia and former Trade Minister Alan Tremantin. Ejapong thinks even more highly of himself and says he believes he is the party's best bet in the coming election. And to prove that, he had 20 constituency chairmen with him as he filed his nomination at the party headquarters to show their support.
Fellow Ghanaians, we have to make sure that we change this country. And that is what I stand for. I don't believe in theory. Your inflation will work only when you've been able to stabilize prices.
Kennedy Ejapong, among other things, promised to reduce the unemployment rate and increase exports.
I have to admit that the challenge of the government and the successive governments had been unemployment. And therefore, I've taken it upon myself to make sure I reduce unemployment rate in this country.
But he was not alone. 2 other flag bearer aspirants also filed their nomination forms. Former MPP General Secretary Kwabena Ejapong is making another bid for the MPP presidential slot.
I think we have an onerous duty as a country to reorient ourselves, to recalibrate our values, okay? And I want to lead a lean government machinery, effective, efficient, that delivers to the satisfaction of the Ghanaian people. And also to impose law, order, and discipline, and goes with a drastic penalty regime to make it unattractive for potential offenders.
Kojo Poku, an energy expert, was third to file his nomination forms and wants the party to make a choice based purely on ideas.
It is not about the personality but ideas. I entreat all my colleagues in this process to make this election about a contest of ideas.
There you have them. That's what happened at the party's headquarters earlier today. But let me just refresh your mind. These are the 8 out of the... Now we know there are 11. Previously, we're reporting 10 people who had declared their intentions. But take a look at this. Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, the Kojo Poku, and in no particular order. These are the 8 who have filed their nomination forms as we speak. Alan Kojo Tremantin, and then also you have... Kennedy Ejapong, as we saw today, and Dr. Usofri Akoto as well. The first 5, and then we go to the next. These are the 3 who have also filed. Boache Jakon, Kwabena Ejapong, Dr. Kofi Konedo Apreko as well. Now, take a look at those who have not filed their nominations, and they have up until the next 3 days to file their nominations. So there you have it. Francis Adainimo, former Member of Parliament, Jogate, current Member of Parliament, and then also the last person you see there, one Odeneho Nana Opong. He came through and the last moments of picking the nomination forms. He's been described as a former transport officer at the Jubilee House, Odinehu Nana Opong. So he adds up to the 11 as we see now. So I know people were saying that, look, he looks like President Akufo-Addo in that picture. But anyway, that's his name there. So there are 11 so far. He's picked his form as well, from what we understand, and he's yet to submit. So we'll see how the next couple of days ahead of us will look like as well going forward. But tonight, our focus is on Kennedy Agyapong, and this is not just going to be one-stop shop conversation, one that will continue until the contest itself in November. But this is the man, Kennedy Agyapong. Just a brief profile of him. Take a look. Born June 16, celebrated his birthday not too long ago. Politician, businessman, 6-time member of parliament, Asin North MP from 2000 to 2008. And so this Asin North by-election, there are many who are also looking at whether he's going to show up in the constituency or otherwise to contest or to help in the campaigning of the MPP, and what difference that is going to make, because he's a former member of parliament of that constituency. Asin Central, he's a current member of parliament for the Asin Central constituency from 2012 to 2020, and he's a chair of the Defense and Interior Committee of Parliament as well. And also what we do know is he's been described as a maverick politician, openly criticizes the MPP when he deems fit. He's had strong views and on the modus operandi of Anas Army, Anas investigative journalist, and the late Ahmed Hussein Swale. Those are the few, just to give you an idea of the man we're talking about. Professor Smat Sapong is a political analyst with the Kumasi Technical University. He's a poster as well. He's doing some research into these persons, putting himself up to lead the NPP. He's with us in the studio. Professor Smat Sapong, thank you so much for joining us on Ghana Tonight.
Yes, good evening.
I see, it appears that Kennedy Agyapong may not be able to run away from the attachment with, for instance, the late Ahmed Hussein Swale, correct? And how things played out, and certainly will keep coming up every now and then in his campaign.
Yeah, well, a very good evening to our cherished viewers. It depends on who is, let me use the word attacking advisedly, who is coming after him and his campaign. You know, when somebody is coming after you, he looks for things that disturbs you or things that would destabilize your campaign, and he may want to use that so you get destabilized, and perhaps the person can have his own way out. If not, that matter, as much as I know, I think it's still with the police. Yeah, and if the law finds it's prudent to invite the Honorable Kennedy Agyapong, I'm sure they will do that. And if he has any way of helping the police or assisting the police to get to the bottom of that matter, I'm sure that will. While that pens with the police, I am not sure he's lost focus in respect of the decision he has taken to join the race. And I think so far he's been so good, if you ask me.
Based on the lenses you're wearing and what you're watching, how are things playing out with respect to him, and then also the over 210,000 delegates, some of which you've been interacting with?
Yeah, he has started very strongly. I feel at the early stage, many of the delegates didn't think that he was actually going to go through the process with all the seriousness we see him put in now. So now it looks like the minds of the delegates are getting oriented, and as I speak now, I can count him among the frontliners, and many can agree with me that he's in the game with some level of seriousness that goes beyond what people earlier thought. There were some schools of thought that he was doing mobilization and later perhaps join another camp. Today, with the submission of his forms, I think it sends a very clear signal that he is in for the race with all seriousness. And I'm sure going forward, people who thought he was doing grassroots mobilization for another candidate would revise their notes and see him for who he is, prepare adequately for him, before he puts up a show that many would have underestimated or would have thought he wasn't in for.
I see. Let me bring in Musa Dankwa, is the Executive Director of Global Info Analytics. Musa Dankwa, thank you so much for joining us on Ghana Tonight. First of all, with your early polls that you have conducted amongst the over 5,000 MPP delegates, how is Kennedy Japan faring in there? And we'll try and reconnect with Musa Dankwa. We lost him briefly. But we've seen a certain trend where a number of them who have submitted their forms either make statements to ostensibly disassociate themselves from certain actions of this current administration, which some of them have been part of, and all of them are members of the MPP. How is that going to work? I mean, you hear Alan Chemanting talk about, his position about going to the IMF and the fact that, and other things. Look, but he was there. He's been a member of this administration, a cabinet minister for that matter. You hear the same line of talk by Dr. Freya Koto as well, and then you hear Kennedy Japan, what he said, and then also Kennedy Japan talking about a lean government, and some of even Dr. That's the likes of Konadu Apreku also talk about 40 ministers and so on. But how is that going to work?
Yeah, a very good one. In research or in academia, you have to definitely find a gap you are coming in to fill. If not, knowledge ends if there is no gap. So I want to see it as they finding gaps to fill when they become presidents. I have a challenge with the way some of them put it, especially those who were part of the government.
Like Dr. Freya Koto and Alan
Senior cabinet ministers. All right. So, yes, it's very good to identify gaps you intend to fill when you become the president. That is fair. But I'm advising that in doing so, they don't put it in a way to suggest that perhaps they were not part of. We all know they were very core. They occupied very sensitive positions in this government. And any attempt to immune or insulate themselves from any encumbrances accrued will be some way. I'm not sure Ghanaians would buy so much into it.
So that strategy is not going to work. You think that Ghanaians are discerning enough to see in between the lines that they're trying to disassociate themselves from the failures of this administration is not a good strategy. It's not going to work for them.
At all. They have to be academic, identify gaps they intend to come and fill, and not to sound like they want to dissociate themselves. Cabinet ministers don't do that. I mean, they wouldn't dissociate themselves.
Okay. Musa Dankwa is now connecting with us as Executive Director of Global Info Analytics. I was asking Musa, thank you so much for joining us on Ghana Tonight. With the early polls that you conducted amongst the NPP delegates, how is Kennedy Japan faring in there?
Right. If you look at the two different type of polls that we've been conducting, the general public poll, since he entered the race sometime July, we've seen him rise in the poll astronomically from 4% all the way to around 21% among MPP voters as of April 2023. Now, if you look at the current poll that we did for just the delegates, MPP delegates, the poll showed him around 12.5% in third place, behind Alan Chemanting and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. So he's not doing bad at all in the polls. And if what we've seen continues, certainly is going to be a force to reckon with in the MPP primaries.
I see. So based on the trends that you're seeing, I mean, do you see the kind of support that is getting now in the early aspects of this contest growing in the coming months before the day itself? Hello, Mr. Dankwa.
I have no doubt it's going to be in the race and among the top three. So far, contenders that have seen consistent rise in the poll.
Right.
From July last year. The tracking poll we have done among MPP supporters showed him consistently going up every night, and that is phenomenal.
Okay. Now, I would like you to position yourself there. Your connection is a bit cranky, but in an event where there's no clear winner in the first round of this flag bearer contest, where does Kennedy Japan fare? Is it going to be part of those who would cross the finishing line as the two candidates that a decision has to be taken on, or he would be a kingmaker in there as well, based on your early polls so far?
By the poll that we've done, and indeed the ordinary ones we've been doing among all Ghanaians, we can see Alan Trematin and Dr. Mahmoud Baumia as the final two candidates if there's no clear winner in the MPP primaries. Now, if that happens, I said if, because at the moment 15% of voters are saying that they were or they are undecided, and 8.9% did not disclose who they really want to vote for, but even though they've made that decision. Now, depending upon how these numbers break out, you could either have a clear winner or no winner. But let's assume that there is no clear winner. What we find in the poll is that the delegates who were voting for Kennedy Japan in the first round, in an event of second round, tend to coalesce around Alan Trematin. The poll showed about 72% of Kennedy supporters supporting Alan. In fact, this number is much higher among ordinary voters of MPP, because the April poll showed that 63% of MPP supporters who back Ken would vote for Alan. But in the delegate numbers, the number is actually higher, 72%. Now, only 12% or so of Kennedy supporters moved to support Baumia in an event of fraud. And if you look at where Kennedy is in the polls, and you take the 10 supporters and add it to Alan, that is why the poll was showing Alan leading in the runoff with Dr. Baumia.
I see.
8% of the votes.
Very interesting dynamics there, and it's early days yet, maybe. Mr. Dankwa, thank you so much, Executive Director of Global Info Analytics. I mean, and I know, Professor Smatsapon, you've been doing some polls as well. How is it playing out? I mean, based on the initial results that you've gotten as well.
Yeah, I can put my hands on the first three.
Mm-hmm. Who are the first three based on what you've been working on?
Yes, in no particular order. Alan Trematin, Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, and Kennedy Ohene Ejapon.
So that's consistent with the Global Info Analytics one as well. So those are the 3 out of the 11 who say...
In fact, I had made an argument that if the MPP had revised their selection of the first 5 in the superdelegates to include setting a minimum requirement or pass mark, these were going to be the only 3 that may pass if they put the pass mark somewhere around 5%.
Okay.
Yeah, so it tells you how strongly these 3 will compete for the available votes. I will not be too quick to suggest who may lead or who the top 2 would be, because it is still early days yet. Mm-hmm. I am expecting the meetings that will precede the delegates, superdelegates conference or election itself to allow these 11 candidates some opportunity to reconsider their decision to participate, because, I mean, if they should engage the grounds and be after the real truth, they would know that perhaps these frontliners, these 3 we are talking about, are way ahead. And in the interest of the party and to save them some cost and all those things, if they can reconsider and realign so that they save themselves of the superdelegates and then they face the real delegates once and for all.
I see.
Then we can see where the dust will settle.
In 30 seconds, did it surprise you that there was this 11th person, the Odenehu, the former director of transport of the Jubilee House?
Yeah, all those who assessed themselves and felt qualified, I'm sure, have shown their face up. But I categorize them into 3 groups. There are these groups that simply wants to leave Division 1 or the lower level into the premiership, be known as whatever. Then there is a second group who wants to actually put up a show. One of them may win. And then there is a third group who are in to avoid relegation. It is such that if they don't appear and, organize themselves and be seen around this time, perhaps they are nearing relegation. They may leave the scene. They don't want to do that. Some of them are even doing it for the sake of the future, so that their names, the upcoming generation will benefit from their names. Their children can say, my father was one of those who did that and all those things. So, yes, many have several interests and reasons why they put themselves up for competitions that are even somehow very clear. They are not going to put up any match.
Anyway, Professor Smatsapong, thank you so much. And I know that you are with us every step of the way on this matter. Here on your Election Command Center, Professor Smatsapong is a political analyst and lecturer at the Kumasi Technical University. Appreciate your time. Great. Coming up next, the Association of Ghana Industries. They've cautioned government against removing taxes on imported sanitary parts at the expense of local manufacturers. Well, let me let you into the details why the AGI, Association of Ghana Industries, is cautioning government against removing the taxes on imported sanitary parts at the expense of local manufacturers. Take a look.
The Association of Ghana Industries have described calls for removal of duties on imported sanitary parts as misplaced. They bemoan that local manufacturers of sanitary parts and diapers have been under pressure from cheap and substandard imports which sell at closeout. The few sanitary pad manufacturers with capacity to expand are only producing at about 30% capacity on account of the influx of such imports. Portions of a statement from the AGI reads, the AGI maintains that some of the factories are already out of business and its workers have been laid off, arguing that a further elimination of taxes on such imports will certainly collapse the few factories left or compel them to fold up and become mere importers. Though they admit that young women in the country deserve affordable sanitary pads, they are certain that granting tax waivers on imported sanitary pads is not the way to go. With incentives and supports, these local companies can meet domestic demand, saving the country jobs and forex. Instead of removal of import duties, local manufacturers of hygienic sanitary pads have since petitioned government for exemption from VAT and import duty on their imported raw materials to make such products more affordable. Currently, medical supplies, services, essential drugs as listed under Chapter 30 of the HS Code produced or supplied by retail in Ghana specified active ingredients for essential drugs and selected imported special drugs determined by the Minister of Health and approved by Parliament enjoy exempt regime. It is only fair to extend same dispensation to the raw material for sanitary pads for our young women, the group argues.
Okay, so let's stay a bit further on this, because when the AGI issued this statement just about some couple of hours ago, it's got a lot of reactions from you, members of the general public, on social media. And joining us on Zoom is Member of Parliament for Ketu South and a member of the Trades and Industry Committee of Parliament, Honorable Abla Jifa Gomashi. Thank you so much for joining us on Ghana Tonight. So you've just heard the AGI's position there. They are not happy about this pressure being put on government to remove the taxes on imported parts, that's sanitary parts. Do you side with the argument that that is going to lead to a collapse of the local industry?
Well, thank you for the opportunity. So I've just read the release by the AGI, and I'm horrified, really. I have to be honest. I'm horrified because the essence of our advocacy and appeal to the state to remove the obnoxious tax is not to kill the local industry, but to make sure that our girls are not shortchanged and they are able to go to school and they have a dignified life, as we all want for our children. If the AGI is minded to know that, to recall they've been asking for the support for the poultry industry, for example, but importation of frozen foods are still coming in. Why are they focusing on the sanitary towels? You know, we are talking about biology, and we don't quite have a choice, okay? We don't have a choice as to whether we have our cycle or not. It's just how God created the world, and women have to go through this. And we're saying that we need for our girls to have access to this. It's not too much to ask, because you see, in the UK now, they passed a bill, and they have now in their country free access to sanitary towels for anybody who needs it. We are not there yet. So can we make it cheaper for the girls so they can go to school and remain in school and not be embarrassed, and take away the shame of having to soil their clothes and using all kinds of materials that bring them infection and stop them from going to school? I think that the call should not be one against the other. I think that it's okay to make the call that the local companies be supported or assisted to do better and increase their capacity. But that should not stop the government from, in the interim, reducing the taxes so the girls can afford them.
I see. Well, but here's the core of the AGI's argument, or the opposition. They say that the local sanitary parts manufacturing companies have already been under pressure from cheap and substandard parts, imported sanitary parts. So to remove the taxes on the imported sanitary parts would even make it more cheaper, which will then worsen the already worse situation that you're faced with.
You see, it's easy to do that because the girls are voiceless. They don't have a voice. Has the fashion industry and the creative sector not been crying about the same inferior goods that have made their work, their efforts difficult to do in terms of achieving their goals? Has the AGI been hearing them? Has the AGI heard the creative artists who cry about cheap products that come into the country, making their work difficult? Has the AGI been fighting for the poultry farmers? I mean, look, as I said earlier, I do not stand against local production of sanitary towels. It's never been a part of the call that I make. But I am saying that in the absence of that, our girls still must go to school. So ask for the support for the local industries, but do not threaten or what's the word? They said caution. I mean, this caution comes almost like a threat. And I take exception to that. All these years we've been crying about removing the taxes. They haven't found a way to get government to give support, a lifeline to the local manufacturers so they can increase their production and address the same issue. So why have they got a hint that is going to be done, and so they have to throw the sand into the gari for us? I don't understand.
Okay, now I have said Chuma Kwabwa, who is the Chief Executive Officer of the Association of Ghana Industries. Madam Jifagomachi, listening to you right now. Mr. Kwabwa, have you got a hint that this taxes on imported sanitary parts is going to be scrapped? That's why you are throwing, as Madam Jifagomachi said, some sand into the girls' gari?
Well, thank you very much.
Fortunate.
The hint and the objective here is not to throw sand into Madam's gari, as she's saying. Indeed, I think that AGI should be understood in this context.
Okay.
We are not in any way fighting any group that is asking for possible reduction in prices of sanitary pads for our young girls. Right. We all have young ladies. We would wish that indeed they get that kind of support. So our call here is that the support should be given to enable them get the cheap sanitary pads and fully support that call. However, I think it is the way we go about it that we are talking about.
Okay.
We do have local manufacturers of sanitary pads in Ghana. Some of them are producing below 30% capacity. They are having serious challenges in the system, and for that reason, they are unable to produce the volume that we need because cost of production here is high. Let us bear in mind that when we import the raw materials for the production of the sanitary pads, you pay duty on it. You pay VAT on it. Unfortunately, some of these products come in through unapproved routes already, and therefore they avoid some of these taxes. Now, if we remove duties on imported finished sanitary pads, what is going to happen to those who are importing raw materials and are paying duty? So definitely, the challenge will be that the local production, the cost will be very high and therefore become uncompetitive. So whilst trying to solve the problem of getting price reduction for the young ladies, you are then creating a problem of unemployment. You are creating a problem of collapse of industries. So our proposal here is very simple. Can we work with a group such as a GFES group and then work with government to make sure that we work with the industries and let the industries check up production? Look at the taxes that the industries are paying, because when you say removing of duties, it means denial of revenue to government. That revenue that we are denying government, that revenue can also be put on the local production. So eventually, the young ladies will get it cheaper, but at the same time, you are keeping local industries working, you are keeping jobs. Really to kill the two birds with one stone, instead of looking at imports and reduction, because what we're doing in that case, we're only increasing volume of import that is coming to the country. So I think that we are on the same call. And as she said, they are not against local production. And therefore, if you are not against local production, I think it's a matter of coming together and judge on this. Our position is that the solution to this is not removal of duties on imported finished sanitary pads, but rather shift that revenue loss to local producers. We can go into agreement with these local producers and say, this is your cost of production.
Right.
If we reduce it by this much, how much will it come as a price to the suppliers? Then we work on the same level and still get the products cheaper for our young ladies. So we support that call.
Okay. Mr. Kusuma Kwabwa, stay with me. And Madam Jifa Komashi, thankfully, you are a member of the Trades and Industry Committee of Parliament. Sir Chukwuma Kwabwa is saying that, well, you are singing the same song. So he's going to come to you. I mean, the AGI will come to you. I mean, if the Trades and Industry Committee of Parliament is called upon on this, how would you influence the position of the committee on this matter, finally?
Well, you know, they're not coming to the main chamber.
Yes.
They will probably come to my committee. Thankfully, I'm on the Trade Industry and Tourism Committee. I'll be more than happy to engage them in a discussion so we come to an understanding that it is not either or. It is not either or.
Okay.
It's not that you either support the local economy against the reduction or the removal of the taxes. No, it's not so. They can work together. Government should support as we did with I think about 8 years ago, 8 or 9 years ago, didn't we support the pharmaceutical companies? And there was still importation of pharmaceutical products that we were buying. Why can't we do both? Why do we have to say that don't remove the taxes so the price keeps shooting up? I mean, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to call the taxes on sanitary towels as luxury taxes when I don't choose to menstruate. So I'll be waiting. I'll be more than happy to have this conversation with them when they come to meet our committee, if that's where they're coming. I mean, and I know that it will be a healthy debate. We will talk through it and come to a fine conclusion that does not shortchange our girls. No. By all means, support the local companies. I mean, I'm not one to speak against our local companies because they provide jobs and they provide some resource for the state. But it is not at the expense of the girls going to school.
Okay. Madam Jifa-Gomashi, thank you so much. Abla Jifa-Gomashi is MP for K2 South, member of the Trade Industry and Tourism Committee of Parliament. Also to you, Mr. Setuma Kwabwa, appreciate your time, CEO of the Association of Ghana Industries, and your position quite clearly explained. Thank you. But coming up next, before we go, the teacher licensing exams failure never seems to go away because some of the failed teachers, the failed teacher trainees are raising issues. Now, we've been joined on the telephone by Kwabena Asante, not his real name because he failed these licensing exams, and we understand he's going to resit, so to avoid the stigma, we gave him this name. Thank you for joining us. First of all, help us understand why there was that massive failure. The number over 6,000 of your colleagues, including yourself, failed this exam.
Okay, about the mass failure of our NTC exams. You see, one of the major points that we fail is that we don't have the content, what to read, as to which area we should read, and the exams that you're going to write. We only know of the 3 categories you're going to write on: essential skills, literacy, and numeracy. But we don't have any content to read on in order to pass the exam. And also, in addition, we don't have, we don't know the threshold as to which marks you get to get the pass mark, and as to which marks you get and you fail. So we are lost in the in the education settings. We are lost. We don't know which area we are going to.
In that your teachers in the College of Education or wherever you learn to write this exam don't prepare you well?
Yes. Compared to, you see, at the university, I competed in the university in 2019.
Okay.
And I wrote the exams this year. 2019, you see, the content on which we write the exams on is not given to us. We don't know which category they want, as to which content we are writing on. The questions are given to, the only thing you see is go and register, and the date is given to you, the venue is given to you. But the content on which you're going to read to get the insight on what you're going to write on is not given to us. We struggle to get the content to read on.
But really, let's put that back on the screen. You see, even if you want to blame your teachers, you are a university graduate, from what I understand. You say you graduated from the university and then you are sitting these licensure exams so that you can be licensed to teach. This is basic literacy and numeracy. Look at some of the mistakes that some of you did. These spelling mistakes. Would you blame the teachers for this? This what we are seeing on the screen now?
I would say I would still maintain my stance that the content, you see, although it might be, for instance, I competed in 2019, and from 2019 up to date, since I'm in the house, I'm not working. I'm not reading any content. I'm not reading anything concerning the NTC. I'm not reading anything. I don't have anything to read on. And somebody was also competed maybe in 2016 in the house looking for a job to do, and they're asking the person to go and write exams. You're not giving the content as to which one you should read, although it might be basics. It might be a basic mathematics, numeracy, basic literacy, basic essential skill, but still you need to read on in order to get what you need to produce to them for them to pass you for the exams. And now it is a prerequisite to getting employment in the GES. And if you don't get these passes, you don't get work to do under GES.
Well, thank you. We know that the Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAT, also has an extensive response to how things have played out with this licensure exam and the outcome. So this is an issue that we'll deal with as well here on Ghana Tonight tomorrow. Appreciate your time. This is one of the candidates of the licensure exam who failed, and so we gave him a name, Kofi Asante, because he's going to sit again. But thank you so much for staying with us here on Ghana Tonight. On behalf of the rest of the team, we appreciate your company. Join us same time tomorrow. I am Alfred Ocansey. Have a good night.
Ghana Tonight is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.